have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones.
All right, this is the Talk Beat Jones, and I am Billy E. Jones, and I want to thank you for joining us today. Listen, tell your friends. They can get on the phone right now, make whatever type of communications they have to. Let them know Talk Beat Jones, we're on the air. And of course, we're on every Wednesday live from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. There's a repeat broadcast on Sundays. That's right. If you miss it during the week or you don't go into the R.J. Watkins page, in which we're doing it live as we speak, you can always watch it on a Sunday. That's on 15.2. That's 15.2. And you can watch the Jones Size. Excuse me. I'm talking about my fitness program. That's not what we want to talk about. We're talking about the Talk Beat Jones. You'll be able to watch it on a Sunday from 4 to 5 p.m. Now, what we're doing now, you see the numbers there on the line, on the screen there, so you can call, and we'll have a communication system so that if there are questions that you have, if there's comments that you want to make, if there are thoughts that come across your mind, the one thing you always have to remember, it is yours. It is your thought. Front door. It is yours. Therefore, it is the best conversational thought, period. Because we're getting what you think. And that's what we want, to get what you think, and then we can have a discussion, have a talk. And again, as my family and friends from around the world, they're able to watch and see how even though you may have two persons or three, but two persons who have a difference in communication of what they want to comment on in terms of how they want to make their thought known, there's a way to do it so that everybody feels good, everybody feels respected. And that's what we do here on the Talk Beat Jones, so that we can, by demonstrating just naturally what it is that we do, we talk. We have differences. You have differences. But it doesn't matter. Why? Because we can, tell you what, I need to take about a 30-second time to get something corrected, and I want you to do this for me, family. I want you to, at this time, make sure that you like and that you share this program. It's going to be interesting. And so we're going to take about a 10, 20-second commercial break, and we'll be right back on the Talk Beat Jones. Again, I am Billy Jones. Tell your friends, every Wednesday, we're here live from 10 to 11.
Go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones.
I'm Billy Jones. You see what I wanted corrected here? We have on the Talk Beat Jones today, we have our new intern co-host. And Makila, would you please introduce yourself to the family and the world folks that got there and let them know who you are?
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Mikela. I am pleased to be on this show this morning. I hope everyone
Look
is
at him,
doing
right?
good.
Look at him.
Hope everyone is doing good this morning. Thank you for tuning in.
All right. All right. So we have something that we're going to talk about. Also, I have a Leo. There we go. Leo.
Yes, sir.
All right. You're there in Las Vegas, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to talk to Mr. Leo Brazil while he's in Las Vegas on some things there and get some clips and some comments from Mr. Leo Brazil, depending upon how he feels this morning. What time is it where you are, Mr. Leo Brazil?
I don't have any idea. Let me look and see.
Well, while
I'm still on California time.
Okay, so that means it's about 7 o'clock, about 7 a.m. your time. Okay, so family, we have this young lady, Makila. I was told don't just call her a young lady, give her the name that she was born with, Makila. And Makila has a few things that she's going to bring to the program, but I do want you to know that we have a variety of conversations today. It's getting close to that time that the President Biden and the other guy, President used to be, trying to be again, Mr. Donald Trump. And I got a quick question. For the audience and politically inclined and not politically inclined, but just what did you see during the last go round in which Mr. Donald Trump was going through these debates? How many of you remember as they're talking about Biden and the medications that he's going to receive so that he's up and he's ready? And of course, the ex-president is talking about the shot that Biden's going to get in the butt, so he's going to be up and ready and perky and all this, and he's setting you up, say that if Biden is on his game, he must be on meds. How many of us can remember we had the question about the former president? Do you remember the how many of you remember the Donald Trump I say no more when it comes to them talking about medications? There was questions being asked, but no one really wanted to ask the question as to what is really going on with the nasal condition there. Seemed like there was something wrong with his nose. But am I the only one that can remember that process? You remember
No, I do not remember that, actually.
Okay.
This is my first time hearing it.
Okay. Maybe I passed it by Mr. Leo Brazil. He may have remembered it. Mr. Leo Brazil.
You know, I'm not going to talk about Donald Trump. Again, I don't engage in that foolishness, man.
Okay. Now, speaking of, let's do this real quickly. Now, you're in Las Vegas, and update us in terms of why are you in Las Vegas, Mr. Leo Brazil?
I am here to support my pastor, Dr. Jackie Thompson of the Allen Temple Baptist Church, Oakland, California.
Okay.
She is the vice president of the Progressive National Baptist, and they're having their Southwest Regional Conference here in Las Vegas.
Okay. And explain how that works. Is this going to be with a lot of other ministers, or is this just the ministers bringing some of the people from the churches, or how does that work, and what is the purpose, please?
Well, it's a Southwest Regional Conference preparatory to the national conference, which will be held in New Orleans sometime. I don't know the date, but I came with a couple of members from Allen Temple who were on program, and I came to support them.
Do I know any of the persons that you came with, maybe?
Well, you might know Bobby Williams, who graduated from McClymonds, I think, at about 58.
Mm-hmm.
Reginald Lyles.
My frat brother, Phi Beta Sigma, Reginald
one of your
Lyles.
frat brothers, that is one of the presenters. He's teaching workshops. So he's my Sunday school teacher at Allen Temple, class 9.
And like
so I came to support him.
Yes.
Michael Johnson is a former San Francisco guy, lives over in Oakland now, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But Michael is the the Southwest Regional Vice President.
Oh, okay.
So that meant, I can't think of her name right now. I'm having a senior moment, but
Not a problem.
another officer in the Southwest Regional.
Mm-hmm.
So our pastor Jackie Thompson is eligible to be the first woman president of the Progressive National Baptist in a year or so, or maybe at the national convention. So we're here doing a little politicking,
All right, and must speak on Pastor Smith. Please take a moment and speak on Pastor Smith and the fact that we do have from Allen Temple all of these wonderful ladies of God who came up and was brought into the fold and was shown that they can actually be ministers and preachers, and that was incorporated many, 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 many years when ladies could not get into the pastor position. Pastor Smith broke that wide open. Speak on that, Mr. Leo, presume, not Pastor
J.
J.
Alfred Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Emeritus of Allen Temple.
Yes.
Dr. Smith, when he was pastor, he became the first, I think, West Coast president of the Progressive National Baptist.
Okay.
And at the time, he advocated for ordaining women to be ministers and pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people did not like that. I think the National Baptists still don't do it. The Southern Baptists don't do it.
Come on now.
And so J. Alfred ordained the first woman at Allen Temple Baptist Church, and women came up through the ranks, and that's where Dr. Jackie Thompson came from.
That's right.
She was made the first female pastor of Allen Temple Baptist Church. I guess she's on her third year now. She was the 100-year pastor
Yes.
of Allen Temple Baptist Church, and we're
Yes.
very proud of her that she's moving up now through the national ranks of the Progressive Baptists.
Powerful. Allen
J.
Temple.
Albert was, like I said, the first one to be national president of the Progressive Baptist, and he opened up the door. Now is one of his mentees are coming up through the ranks. That's what we're here to support.
Yes. And, it just made me feel so special when I'd come to Bible study class and it was being taught by Dr. J. Alfred Smith. And when I was able to complete and was able to get that right hand to the church, man, it was like, that was, oh man, I was on top of the world because I had completed that studies.
Well, you studied under one of the giants.
Yes,
J.
sir.
Alfred is 93 years old.
Yes.
93 years young, as they say,
Yes.
this year. So we're glad that he's still amongst us, still will come in and grace us with a sermon every once in a while.
Yes. So that's the blessings. Like I said,
Straight out of Oakland.
Straight out of Oakland, California. That was my blessing. Hold on, Leo. I'm going to ask this young lady. I was going to say it again. Yes, this young lady that's here with me today. Would you give me your name, Makia?
It's Keela, but Keela for short.
Okay, I'm calling you.
Spell it
What can
for
I
me.
call you?
Keela for short.
Keela. Okay, family. So now you hear me. When you hear me just calling her Keela, you'll know who I'm talking about, and you know I got her permission to call her Keela. Okay. Tell us now, in your graduate work, in your work, and going through school, what degrees do you have again?
I have a degree in journalism, which is communications, and a master's in business.
Okay, and today you have something that you and I are going to talk about that concerns Mr. Leo Brazil, myself,
Yes.
and all the other men, Mr. Tim, your brother, Mr. RJ, Mr. Henry Tyler, etc. Would you tell us what do we all have in common?
As much as a lot of people don't know, June is Men's Mental Health Month. And so I would say this topic, this holiday
Mm-hmm.
is commonly overlooked because of how men are supposed to be. And so, Mr. Leo, I would just like to get your opinion, your thoughts, your suggestions, your recommendation on how you feel about men's mental health.
Well, strangely enough, or maybe Bob Billy already knew that, Bobby Williams is here with me from Allen Temple, and he is our Brothers to Brothers chair for male mental health. He's the expert for our group in masculinity, the male masculine and mental health problem that we're having. And we have a suicide involving young black men, and we wanted to try to get to the bottom of that and what the church could do. And that's why we're here recruiting at the National Baptist group to try to bring this mental health issue to our community. And so we're right on time. I'm glad to hear that. Go ahead. I want to listen to you.
So do you think it's commonly overlooked? Because apparently June is, Pride Month, and so people celebrate Pride, but they also forget about men's mental health too, because it's just as important as women's mental health.
Well, again, men's mental health is something that is forgotten, but the one that we're working on that's even forgotten among mental health and don't want to be talked about, and that's black men and boys' mental health.
Right.
And the suicide rate that is going up in the black community, driven by some mental health. But we're finding out that those mental health and alcohol and drug-related things are all connected together. A lot of it to do with family problems like incest and other things that are happening. The denunciation of homosexuality and that kind of stuff is putting additional pressure on our young black boys.
So, quick question. I heard this, and I want the folks to hear it again. Did you say that young men, black men, and men, black, are committing suicide at a different rate as in the past?
Oh yeah, I something like up like 40%.
How many?
For young black men, because we never paid any attention to male suicides and his relationship to mental health problems and drug addiction and stuff. So that's just a male, period, white, black, whatever, right? So we know that we never paid attention to things going on in the black community. And the reason why our committee got started is, like I said, we had a couple of suicides, but more importantly, we were feeling the lack of concern about young black males, period, because the female mental health and the female kind of problems were taking prominence in the national discussion, and nobody had really paid much attention to the male side of the equation.
You'll come in.
Exactly.
You'll come in.
Okay, so do you think the media has some form of, I guess, play into this? Because I know how the media portrays that if men were to show that, show their emotions, they would be called feminine or too girly, or they are portrayed to be weak. So do you think
Right.
do you think the media has some form of play into that, especially in today's generation?
Yeah, they're not generating it, but they are perpetuating it in the sense that, that's the worldwide macho image thing of males supposed to be strong, the guy's supposed to cry, hold on to their emotions, and all that kind of stuff. The superheroes, you don't see superheroes cry. And remember, they had that movie that time that about women playing baseball.
Yes.
And then Tom Hanks' famous words, to the girls. Girls don't cry. This is baseball, That kind of stuff has been perpetuated, and the media, by and large, just perpetuates it.
Let me
Goes along with it, and I'm glad to see that some of you young journalists now and journalists in general are taking up the subject of male image and what male image is all about. But don't forget about black males, because
Let me ask
we
this.
think, man, you better not ever tell nobody you want to go to therapy or
Okay, Leo,
see a therapist.
hold on now. Let's do this. Or some of those things, and this is for both of you, or some of the imagery that they've had about what men can't do, what men shouldn't do, has that changed in the last 20 or 30 years because of the difference in terms of the outing of the different sexualities of the different men or men period? Because the black men who are not macho but are men, because we've been brought up, or they've been brought up in a softening understanding of what a man is about. So is that affecting the black male population as such, or is there causing some confusion for those who are looking at being masculine, but they're being pushed towards more of a softer role?
Well, I mean, black men are raised to be tough. They are raised to be unemotional. And so when we talk about men's mental health and how they should, I guess, talk about their feelings and emotions, they kind of get confused and say, well, I was brought up to be tough. I was brought up to be strong. I was brought up to not show my feelings. But now you're telling me that, oh, I should talk about my feelings? Maybe not, because so-and-so said I may be weak. I may be too girly. So it changes their perspective of how they view themselves, how they view people in their lives.
Leo?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, I'm an old man, man. I'm long since out of the mainstream of what's happening in the dating game and all that other kind of stuff. So I can't speak to how the young men are being perceived by their own generation. But as an older man, I grew up when you had to be macho man, period. Wasn't no time for no sissies.
You know, I'm going to put another twist to this, because my father did not go along with this process where you could not do this or you could not do that, and if you were a man. We were brought up to be a complete person who were able to express ourselves and our emotions. And we were not perceived as being weak because I want to hug my father, hug my brother. We were not considered weak if some tears fell through the eyes. As long as we kept our emotions in check, we can feel, but you're not going to break down and fall on the floor and act crazy. But you can feel life. You can feel emotions. You can express emotions. You can allow your body to feel those emotions. That is the process where I'm saying I hear about the macho folks being brought up. But again, let us look at there are others who were not brought up in that fashion and were brought up to be straight men. So how do we deal with the fact that now in our bringing up of our young men, ladies, we're speaking about the men. This is mental health for men. So our young men who were brought up by single women, and they're brought up in a different understanding of life. Leo, you know what I'm speaking of. Can you speak on that, please?
Well, again, like I said, I'm guilty of being a part of that generation that would say, oh, well, here come old punk-ass Billy Jones. We don't want him on our team. Don't pick him on our side.
Until Billy Jones turn around and kick your butt.
Daddy lets him cry, you know, when he get upset.
Yeah.
But no. See,
that's a whole total. Wait. That's a whole total outlook. But I'll do this since you put it that fashion. How many times have you seen star basketball players, star baseball players, star football players in their emotions, in which the tears had to fall, in which they could not hold up because they were just so happy or so disappointed? How many times did you look on the bench and see the ball players reflecting how the game is going or not going, and see their emotions?
That's acceptable.
That's what I'm saying.
You just under all that stress and strain of a season, and you finally win that game, and you break down and cry and say, we finally made it. That's acceptable for a male. But you get out there and see something, a dog get run over or something like that, break down, start crying because you're a pet lover.
Now here you done pulled me in from undercover again. Now I just 4 days ago riding down the street, and I looked, and I saw a little something jumping across, and I'm driving, and of course I'm thinking that thing is going to jump, going to move out the way, and I slowed down, and I realized that it hadn't moved, and I looked back, and I saw something jumping, and I realized, did I hit it? And from that time, I was going to the store on 8 Mile. From that time to all the way to 8 Mile, I was bothered about, did I hit it? And on the way back from the store, I came that same route, and I looked on the ground, and I saw that it was a baby jackrabbit. And the rest of that day, Leo, my day was messed up because I had killed that baby jackrabbit just in the streets. So
But
we
did
go
nobody
to.
see you crying.
No, I didn't cry. It's just an emotional process that you mentioned that. I'm saying there are those of us, you can see different things, and it just reflects. I can be the hardest of hard. I can kick your butt and don't have no feelings about it. Then I can see something that's so tender that's like, oh my goodness. So the range of emotions is what we're supposed to be free to have. But it's when we get locked in to we only supposed to be this way that we get that confusion. Because now we got to express that anger, that fight to show I'm that strong, I'm that guy.
Your media
Yeah, but at least
always.
you're letting it out. What we're talking about is you holding it in because it's not cool to put out, but mentally it's going to come out. If your behavior is going to be affected, you're going to be affected physically in your body some way. We're learning
Yes.
that you cannot hold emotions in. They are
Thank
going
you.
to be expressed in some way.
Thank
You're
you.
going to have heart attacks.
Thank
you're
you.
going to have kidney problems. You're going to have something that emotional release would have normally relieved that pressure. You pushed it into your kidneys or to your hearing or some part of your body. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you.
Young lady.
But now, the only place you're allowed to
Hold,
cry
hold on, Miss
is when you
Leo.
go to a funeral and
Miss
you're in
Leo.
church.
Miss Leo, hold on for a moment. Go ahead, young lady. Go
Okay,
ahead, Mickey.
so media always portrays that thin line of when men should and should not cry. So what other times besides, I guess, like the famous superstars, the famous basketball players, what other times are acceptable for men to actually show their true feelings, their emotions, without being looked at, I guess, weak, not tough, things of that nature?
At a relative funeral or a friend's funeral or or even in church that the pastor may be preaching a thing and your tears start running. You say, oh, Billy's sitting over there crying because the preacher didn't hit a sin that he didn't do.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we pick this up after the commercial break? Because, again, we're sponsored by Lemon Burn. And I tell you this, as we're talking about life and taking care of yourself, family, you've got that stomach fat. You've got that fat, that subcutaneous fat, that brown fat. One day if you want to talk to me about it, I'm a weight reduction specialist by trade for many years, trained by the doctors, trained by the corporations, and went on to become one of the best weight reduction counselors. Could tell you about the subcutaneous fat and why it's so hard to get to. But with that lemon burn, you take and you follow the lemon burn procedures, and you're going to get down into that subcutaneous brown fat and have it removed from your body. That is what you have to have, not the normal fat. That's going to come back when you drink water, etc. You got to get down into that subcutaneous brown fat. Okay? We're going to show you what the lemon burn can do shortly. But call 868-6612 and let's get you some lemon burn. Let's take it away and let's do this. We'll be right back after these commercial announcements on the Talk Beat Jones.
You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is R.J. Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you, because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Billy E. Jones, Talk Beat Jones. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WHPR TV 33 Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
I'm prolific. Generational wealth. No risk, no reward. All entrepreneurs get yours personalized with your business's name or logo. Order yours today. GenerationalWealthForLife.com or call 313-220-9433. That's 313-220-9433. Generational wealth. No risk, no reward.
You know what it is, generational wealth.
I'm prolific.
TV 33 is moving to WHPS TV channel 15.2. Make sure to rescan the channels on your TV. Then go to WHPS channel 15.2 to pick up TV 33 and all of your favorite shows. The move is on, and we want you to move with us to WHPS channel 15.2.
Have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones.
And I am Billy E. Jones. We ask you to tell your friends again to like us, share us, and again, we're on that YouTube TV33 on demand, and you can go back, you can listen, and you can watch all of the programs. Just go in that queue and scroll it up. Go to videos. You know, it has different sections. Go to videos. That will give you the latest videos in sequential orders from now until way back in the many years. But you're able to see the Talk Beat Jones and other shows. Remember, our program is on the air every Wednesday live, and we're here from 10 to 11 with a repeat broadcast, of course, on 15.2 on Fridays. So tell your friends that they can watch us on a Friday on on Sundays at 15.2. Right now, they still got time. Tell them they can go to the R.J. Watkins page, R.J. Watkins WHPR live page, and they can watch us and participate. Shortly, we'll put a telephone number up there in case you want to join us on a telephone call. You can call in. We're not going to leave the numbers up there long, so look at them now for those who can't read because of eyesight problems. Let me help you out. 313-868-4336. And if you call that number, the rest of the numbers will roll over. However, can you read those other two numbers, young lady?
Yes, it's 313-868-0342. Please call in and let us know your opinions.
And how about that last number?
And the last number, 313-868-0351.
Okay, okay. And so, family, so you hope that you've written those numbers down and taken them down and make a note of it. We're going to take them off the screen. But again, we love you and we appreciate you with all the support that you have been given to the Talk B. Jones over the years. And really, I love you and I appreciate you so doggone much. And again, keep it coming, keep the love, keep the blessings. That's what we love. That's what we're here for, your blessings. You were wanting to know, you had a question just as we went to the commercial break. You remember the question?
You know, talking about men's mental health and how it leads to, I guess, suicide and depression and anxiety. Why do you think that it's important to talk about men's mental health? Why should we talk about it more?
Why you answer that question?
I think because of the fact that it builds confidence, it builds awareness to not just for men, but also gives them a space to actually open up and express their feelings, their emotions, and just be cautious and confident in those emotions and feelings.
Okay. Is there another question you got for us? Leo, you want to comment?
No, it's just a pressure release. You need to release that pressure. And what do you do when you go to a therapist? You talk. Well, you need somebody to talk to. So you need a best friend or daddy or mama or somebody you can talk to and let that pressure off and not be judged.
Leo, you remember, here I go. I'm not patting myself on the shoulders, but just facts. Little boy says, just the facts. In Oakland, California, when Soul Beat was trying to commit to a morning program, and when they brought me in and started the Morning Beat program, one of the greater things that we found in that community was the fact that we had folks calling in and talking and expressing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember it got to be the point that was so wonderful that when I would leave my Jones Side studio, walk past, what's my big guy, Mr. Tall, the restaurant man?
Walt Hickory Pit?
Yes, sir. At that location, when I'd walk past, and Walt's Hickory Pit was very, very popular, and you guys would be in there having a breakfast, etc. And there would always be a wave or a conversation because you know I'm headed down to the Soul Beat Studios. It was a way that the expressions of people in the mornings got to be very, very popular. People called to talk. People called to release themselves. People called to joke. People called to say what was on their mind. People called on some serious issues. People called. One guy called and said that, I was such and such, and the police was beating me at such and such a place and such as, all types of conversations, and that was our ability to bring a release to our community through that Soul Beat morning program. Right. And it was very popular. And so I hear this about the communications, and that's why my shows, talk shows, are always open to folks to call and talk and express themselves, even if it means that we have to have a small debate. So that's what the importance of talking, folks, and releasing that stuff that's inside of you. You know, people say he's the strong, silent person. Yes, he is the strong, silent person that's creating cancer, that's creating situations within the system, because all that stress that you're holding in, you're killing yourselves, family. You're killing yourselves. You have to stay loose. Speak on that, young lady. You're young.
It's stress kills people daily, and I can't emphasize that enough.
Come on.
Stress kills people daily, and specifically about our black community, our black boy or black men.
Okay.
Talking about their mental health, creating that open space, creating that awareness, giving them that education that we should give them. It creates that mindset. It produces that mindset where they don't have to put up that strong armor, that strong defense to talk to us about what they're feeling inside. I know there are times where men doesn't show their emotions, their feelings, their whatever they're going through, but there are times where they should, just because it leads, if they don't, it leads to depression, it leads to anxiety. There is a statistic by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide. That is a lot of death right there, even in like the black community.
Wow. Comments, Leo?
I'm just thinking about James Brown said, get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure.
So even at that time, he was telling us something, wasn't he? See,
Dancing.
Yes.
Getting out there and release that pressure.
yes. You know, just a quick aside, that is what the Jones Size workout was about. We didn't do things like other gyms, other places, other facilities. We created the Jones Size dance, and it is a combination of a lot of various different things, but it's just the whole thing is get you moving, get you sweating, get you releasing and feeling good with your body. That's what it's about. You know, no matter how you move, if you're enjoying yourself and you feel good, you're going to get results with it. And that's the principle, and that's the flavor of the Jones Size, why it was so successful all of those years up until the time I left in 2001, getting ready to come out here in 2002. Over 20-something odd years of being successful with the Jones Size. So now we're going to do the process, which is very, very hard, very, very difficult, very bad for the ego, doing it by computer on the Zoom process. So to quote, have been a superstar in the industry, and to come in and after all of these particular years and come back and say, here I am, I'm going to do this. Well, you're like somebody people don't know, and that hurts if you have that ego. I don't have the ego. I started my business with 1 and 2 people. It takes time. And besides that, I am working out for me too. That stress, that tension, that anxiety, those frustrations, living this life, being a black man in America. Go ahead, please.
I mean, being a black man in America, you're always looked at either way it goes. You're looked at, like I said, you're looked at being strong, you're looked at being tough, but also you're just looked at funny because you're black in America. And you know, with the segregation, the slavery, the discrimination, and guess that still is heavily present today. And I mean heavily present today. Even with the different media outlets, they try to portray black men as something else, and they're not.
Leo?
Yeah, well, you know, Sigmund Freud in 1870 did some experiments in mental acuity using some Jewish women in Europe. And he came up with this whole idea of, you know, what was normal and what was abnormal. But if you use Jewish women as your model, what does that have to do with black men or even black women? But his measure is still one of the big measures right now for normative behavior. So that normative behavior of his was done on white women, Jewish women. But it determined what was normal, what was neurotic, and what was psychotic. So all those Freud's tales had nothing to do with us. And when you start measuring us by those norms, you come out with black people being abnormal. And so when you start talking about evaluating us, we already, like the sister said, we start off in the chart as being abnormal. So there's no way in the world for us to not be determined to be neurotic or even bizarre or psychotic. So depression and suspicion and all of those kind of things that we're talking about, withdrawal and abnormal concern with your body or your functions or your depression and fears and compulsive behavior, all of that is misdiagnosed in us black people because we start off as abnormal.
Okay. And, we as men, we have to look at our women when they become pregnant. And for some of us who are aware of statistics, that there is a worry when our women become pregnant, when we look at the statistics and how our women are treated. I'm going to ask the both of you to help me understand, why is it that the complaint from black women is that they cannot have competent doctors to treat, quote, their pain levels. They always want to dismiss or lower their expectations of how much pain our black women are supposed to take, which means that we look at how many women, black women, number-wise, statistic-wise, are dying in childbirth.
It goes back to the lack of education, the lack of awareness, the lack of just knowing what we go through. Like I said, everything goes back to the lack of knowledge, the lack of education that many people have. And so for doctors, surgeons, therapists who know what we go through, especially through pregnancy pain,
Yes.
it creates that confusion for them. So I don't think they do it on purpose. It's just more so the lack of knowledge that they perceive to have because of how they was raised or how they was brought up, or the world that they was brought up in, the norm, the stereotypes that they was brought into.
Leo?
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, I told you, if you go to college and you get your master's in psychology, you got to deal with Sigmund Freud. And Sigmund Freud has set the standards. And so if you've been taught to measure measure people's behavior at graduate school through Sigmund Freud, that's what you start with. So you go into the clinic and a black woman comes in there, you're using a standard that has nothing to do with her relationship. And if you got it built in that, she got a greater pain threshold than white women, then you automatically is mistreating that person and don't mean to mistreat them.
Young lady? Killer?
It goes, like I said, it goes back to the lack of education. But if it was a white woman coming into a doctor's office and she was pregnant, more or less to say, okay, the doctor will understand her pain just because of how, I guess, segregation, how that and discrimination played into it.
Could that also be in terms of how they're able to verbally communicate to the doctor to allow him to really understand what they're feeling? Is there a difference in the communications from a woman, white woman, or other women as different from a black woman communicating to the doctor her pain?
There's nonverbal and verbal cues that a black woman versus a white woman should have versus what they perceive. So a white woman coming into a doctor's office, of course she'll say, I'm in pain, I'm having a baby, I'm in labor, versus a black woman, I'm having contractions. That's right there perceived as, okay, they don't know what to do. But I guess a white woman coming in, she uses more words, more gestures, more, I guess, more pronouns or something that to let the doctor know, like, I'm in pain, versus a black woman, she's coming in there rushing, crying. They won't understand all of that.
Your thoughts, Leo?
I can't speak to that. I'm not a woman, never been pregnant.
However, you are a black man who had a woman that was carried your children through her pregnancy,
right?
9 months plus. And I'll express again on myself. When my baby was being ready to be born, and I took my wife to the hospital, and my wife was in pain, and I interpreted my pain, her pain, as my pain, and my woman is crying out for help. My woman is in the hospital crying out for help, and by Jimmy the Cricket, somebody is going to come here and help my wife because my wife is in pain and she's crying out for help. I got so agitated and so was demonstrating my concern so so heavily, they put me out.
You know, even though men can't physically feel our pain, they could for sure feel it mentally. We can feel the physical pain of going through labor contraction, but they may also feel that mental pain of, okay, my wife is scared, my wife is concerned. I'm feeling it too, even though I'm not having a baby, but I feel her pain
That's
too.
right.
I'm sweating, I'm crying too.
That's right.
Someone get in here and get my wife.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And that's the way I expressed myself. That's the way I expressed myself to the medical folks that was going on. That was how I felt about my wife having my baby, going through that pain. I wanted her to have some help, some relief, do something. Do something. Don't tell me to just sit there and be quiet and just understand. No. So I'm saying we have the process that I could be the quiet, silent person, sit there and just keep all that feeling inside and be agitated and be stressed. No. But again, they said I had to leave. I was being too much of a a distraction, causing a problem.
One of those reasons could because you're black. You're a black man making all this noise. You don't know what to do, and so you're trying to help your wife out, get some help, get some support. You're trying to be there for her, but you're also trying to get a nurse, get a doctor to help and get her out of that physical pain, that emotional pain, that mental pain that she's feeling.
Thank you. Because as a man, quote, as a man, we are taught, raised to be the protector. If there is pain, I want to find a way to relieve that pain. And that's what I was doing in the only way that I knew how, which was get yourselves in here and do something. I'm in the hospital, your nurses, your doctors, my woman is in pain, help her. That's what I needed to have happen. Right or wrong, that's what I had, that's what I wanted. And I'm saying to you, how many black men go through that pressure and don't know how to express themselves, how much attachment they have to the woman who's in pain, and a doctor, she comes in and tell you that the doctors are not listening to her.
There's a lot of black men who go through that. There's a lot of black men who communicate differently but are not well understood due to the lack of education, due to a confusion, due to the lack of services and awareness available to those so they can communicate properly. And so in your case, what you were doing, that was perfectly fine, but to the outsiders, I would say to the doctor, the surgeons, the nurses, they were looking at you kind of crazy, like, what is he doing? No, he gonna have to get out because he's making too much noise. No, looking outside in, you can tell that he was trying to find some relief to his wife. And so that, like I said, that goes back to the lack of education, the lack of understanding. There was confusion.
So rather than trying to speak to me on what I was doing, it was like a confrontation, you see. Rather than try to help me understand, take me aside and say, let me talk to you, and just, no, it was like, hey, you can't do this. Hey, you're causing, sir. Okay, but you can't understand why.
Right. And
talk to me as a person and help me understand what the procedure, what is going on. I'm young. I'm only 20, in my early 20s. First time around. I don't know. All I know is my woman's in pain, baby. Can't
the
let
lack
that.
of understanding.
Yes.
The
Leo,
lack of understanding, the lack of verbal cues that women or like I said, outsiders tend to understand. Now that may be because of how they was raised, what environment they was in, but everything goes back to the lack of education, the lack of knowledge that they received younger in their generation.
All right. Leo, we close now. Give me a minute for you, bro.
Well, again, I didn't have any problems. I took my wife to the hospital in the car, worrying about her maybe having the baby while she was in the car. She didn't cry out in pain or whatever. She was just, distressed. We got to the hospital. She walked in. I walked in with her. The doctor and the nurses took her in the back, told me to have a seat. I have a seat in the room there. reading magazines.
Mm-hmm.
After whatever period of time went by, they came out and said, "Congratulations, you're the father of your little boy."
See,
A little bit later, I got a chance to go and look through a glass window and see my little baby boy laying there all wrapped up.
All right. Well, see, you had a good one. But see,
Yeah,
for those of us
twice.
who have women that are demonstrative in terms of how they feel, and very, some women you can just touch them a little bit. Oh, that hurts. Well, if she's pregnant and she's hollering about whatever else, there are some women that have that mental control, and they're going to not go through all of that. And you were lucky that your children came out beautiful. Young lady, excuse me, Keila, would you give us your comments? Close out.
Well, seeing in your case, Leo, apparently you was calm, cool, and collected. But what if the roles were switched? What if Billy was cool, calm, and collected, and you was freaking out? Do you think the doctor would have reacted the same to you? Telling you to get out or sit down somewhere. You can't be in here making all this noise.
Because we are closing out, he doesn't have time to answer because I got to let you go. I got to let him go. I got to do this because, family, this is the Talk Beat Jones. We're on the air every Wednesday from 10 to 11. We have a repeat broadcast on 15.2 on Sundays at 4 p.m. And, of course, you can watch us on the YouTube, TV 33 on demand. You can watch us live, participate with the program if you choose to. On the R.J. Watkins page, we're live streaming. See us, be with us, love us, share us. Gotta go. Love you.
Love you guys. Thanks
Bye,
for
Dad.
tuning in.
Bye.
Take care.
You wouldn't have to go anywhere because this is the Talk Beat Jones.
Thank you.